Hey everyone, I'm Lauren McMillan. Welcome to day 4 of our 15-day Yoga for Athletes challenge. Today we're going to start on our hands and knees, coming straight into CatCow. We're just gonna go with this right here. Fingers are spread wide, palms are pressing down like you're pushing the floor away from you. As you inhale, drop your belly toward the floor, lift your heart, lift your hips. Maybe take your gaze up if it feels okay on the neck. As you exhale, press the ground away. Spread the shoulder blades round your spine. Inhale, reverse, coming back into cow pose. Exhale, curl it to cat. Let's do a couple more like that. Inhale into cow. Exhale to cat. And last one, inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Come back to a neutral spine. Tuck all 10 toes under. Begin to lift your knees off the mat and then send your hips up and back, coming into downward facing dog. Now, you may need to adjust your stance if it feels like your downward dog is really short or maybe it's too long. Take a moment to pedal out your feet, bending through one knee and the other, letting the opposite heel sink down. Bring your feet back to a place of stillness. Now as you inhale, lift your heels high, roll the body forward, coming to a high plank. So just like in all fours, shoulders are over the wrists. Press the ground away and then let your heart reach a little bit toward the floor. From here, start to bend your knees exactly like we just did, and then send the hips up and back and straighten the legs. Let the heels melt down, downward dog. Let's do that again. Inhale, lift the heels, ripple forward to a high plank. Start to bend your knees, send the tailbone back, lift the hips, and drop the heels down. A couple more times, maybe a little more fluid. Come forward to a high plank. Drop the knees, send the hips back, tailbone goes up. One more time, high plank. Bend the knees, hips go back, downward dog. Return to a high plank and then drop your knees down. Take your knees out a little bit wider than your hips. Bring your big toes together, heels fall apart, and sink your hips over your heels for child's pose. Let the forehead relax down on the mat. If your forehead doesn't reach, you can make a stack with your fists. Let the forehead rest there. You can also place a block or a cushion beneath the forehead. Release the jaw. Let your shoulders drop. Lift up just a little bit. Take your right arm and thread it through. So this is very similar to thread the needle like we did in a previous session. Dropping down to the right shoulder and letting your right ear come down to the floor. Maybe start to walk your left fingertips a little bit up to the right corner of your mat. But if that's too much on your shoulder, just stay where you are. Unwind, extend the right arm forward, and we'll reverse. So take the left arm, thread it through, drop down to the shoulder, release the ear. And if it feels okay, start to walk your right fingertips to the top left corner of your mat. Bring your hand back, unwind, child's pose, and then come back up to your hands and knees. From here, step your right foot forward between your hands so you're in a low lunge. Now, if your hips are tight or if you need a little more room for the torso here, take your foot out wide so your hands are to the inside of the right foot. Wherever you are, drop the hips down, lift your heart. If you can bring your fingertips down, great. If not, it's also a great option to place your hands on blocks or cushions, whatever you need to do to bring the floor a little bit closer to you. And then send your hips back, coming into a half split. So the hips come over the left knee, right toes draw back. Notice if you're rounding in your spine here, see if you can lengthen, reaching your heart forward. Bring your attention to your right foot. Think of digging your right heel into the ground and then dragging it backwards without actually moving it so that the hamstrings start to fire. And then come forward, drop the hips into a low lunge. Come back to a half split. Keep in mind, if your hamstrings are really tight, you can always bend the knee here. Let's take one more round. Come forward into a lunge. Come back to a half split. Hold here. Take your left fingertips to the floor. Open the right arm, twist. Any shoulder issues, just bring your hand to the hip. Continue to draw the right toes back. And then release. Lower the right arm down. Come forward into your lunge. This time, keep the right fingertips down. Left arm reaches up and lean over to the right. Release into your lunge. Step the right knee back beside the left and switch sides. So left foot comes either between the hands or to the outer edge of your mat. Drop the hips down, lift your heart. Send your hips back, come into a half split. So left leg is either straight or slightly bent. Spine as long as your heart reaches forward. Dig the left heel down, drag it back. Release, come forward into your low lunge, drop the hips, lift your heart, and then send it back to a half split. One more round, come forward into a lunge. Go back into your half split. Hold here. This time, keep your right fingertips down. Open the left arm or keep your hand on your hip. Open your chest toward the sky. Drawing the left toes back. Release, come forward into a lunge. Left fingertips stay down, right arm reaches up, lean over to the left. Release, step your left knee back beside the right and return to the right side. Step the right foot forward and then heel toe your right foot to the outer edge of your mat so both hands are inside of the right foot. Turn your right toes out at about a 45-degree angle, and if you're feeling a deep stretch in the hips right here, you can stay here. If you want to go further though, you can maybe come down to your forearms. If you have blocks or cushions, you can also place them beneath the hands or the forearms. If you're looking for more of a hip flexor stretch, you can tuck the back toes under and lift the knee. No matter what you're doing with the back leg though, notice if your head is dropping down. See if you can keep it lifted, allowing the head to be just a natural extension of your spine. If you'd like to go for a quad stretch here, lower the back knee down if it's lifted. Come up to your hands, bend your left leg. You can reach either the right arm back or the left arm, whichever is more accessible for you today. Maybe grab your toes. This is a good place for a strap or a towel if you need to wrap it around the foot. Once you have the foot though, roll the shoulder back, maybe kick your foot away from you, open your heart. Carefully release. Heel toe your right foot back toward the center of your mat and switch sides. Left foot steps forward, heel toe your foot to the outer edge of your mat and turn your left toes out at about a 45-degree angle. Bear in mind that one hip might be tighter than the other, so you may be able to come into the pose a little bit deeper on one side compared to the other, and that's okay, it's just observation. Either stay here or come down to your blocks or cushions or to your forearms. If you did so on the other side, you can tuck the back toes, lift the knee. If you'd like to go for a quad stretch, return onto your hands. Bend the right leg, reach back with either the left or right arm. Maybe finding your foot, maybe using a strap or towel to help you get there. And then roll your shoulder back. Maybe kick your foot away from you. So in addition to this being a really great quad stretch, this is a twist and a heart opener. Might even be a shoulder stretch. When you're ready, gently release. Lower the hand down, heel toe your left foot back towards center, and then come back onto your hands and knees. Drop your hips to one side, swing your legs around front. From here, bring the soles of your feet together, knees come out wide for a butterfly position. You can have your feet as close to you as you'd like. For me, it's a little more comfortable if I take my feet further away from me, so find what works for you. My hands are holding on to my ankles. Roll the shoulders back, lift your heart, find a long spine, and first just start to hinge forward, keeping your back nice and straight. And then when you can't go any further, just let your spine round and your head drop. You can use your elbows to gently press the knees out for a slightly deeper hip stretch. And just breathe, allowing your breath to take you just a little deeper. When you're ready, roll up. We're going to finish with a hip stretch here. So start with your left shin. Place it on the floor in front of you so that it's parallel to the edge of your mat. Take your right foot, place your heel over the right knee. You might already feel a hip stretch right here. If so, this might be where you stay, and that's great. If you can go a little bit further, start to press your right knee down gently, don't force it, bringing it toward the left foot. If it comes down, great. If it doesn't, also great. So if you're all the way down, shins are stacked. Flex through your feet. You can even take your hands and press them into the soles of your feet. And if you need more still, you can walk yourself forward into a forward fold. But wherever you are, just breathe into that right hip and know that if it's too much at any time, just gently back out of it and find a spot that works. Carefully release, so remove the top leg, switch sides. So right shin comes down, left shin is going on top. Start by taking your left foot or your left heel over the right knee, and then see what is available for you on this side. Again, you might be all the way up here. That's fantastic. Just breathe into the stretch. And maybe you walk yourself forward. When you're ready to release, very carefully uncross the legs, return to a comfortable seat, and place your hands together in front of your heart. Thank you for sharing your practice today. You've made it through day 4. Hope to see you on day 5. Namaste.